Hey everybody, it's Chattin with Chap, and I'm your host Ginger Wade, and we are continuing our convention speaker series today. And today we have Christy Faith with us, who is one of our keynote speakers. I'm so excited to be chatting with her today. But guys, if you didn't know and you don't remember, the convention is coming up June 11th through the 13th at Elizabethtown College. You don't want to miss it. Full of speakers that will give you encouragement, full of vendors that will help you choose things for next year, take the load off of your heart, and you will find opportunities to connect with so many other homeschoolers and other people and get the help that you need. So, without further ado, Christy, welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here today, and I'm thrilled to be coming to CHAP in June. I cannot wait to meet all the Pennsylvania homeschool mamas.
Yay! It's so exciting. So I've really been enjoying your podcast. I confess I didn't listen to it much before, but I've really faithfully listening, and I love the stuff that you've been sharing and hearing, and I've been hearing, and it's just been wonderful to.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a different flavor, isn't it? It's a little bit different
Yeah,
than the homeschooling podcasts out there. Yeah,
yeah,
so it's really practical is
yeah,
kind of, yeah, like the last episode I think that dropped last week was, does your state require you to test? Which ones should you do? How should
yeah,
you think about standardized testing? Does
yeah,
it matter? Like I'm big on like deschooling sessions with,
yeah,
wisdom. And also I have which I can talk about in a minute. My background is in education. I'm an education and parenting expert as well. So I really want us to be homeschooling excellently and doing right by our children. I consider myself a
Mhm.
child advocate, and a family advocate and a female advocate, a woman
Yeah.
advocate as well, and who we are in Christ and how we raise our families. And so that's kind of what that my podcast is about. And yeah, I'm so glad that you've been listening to some episodes. How fun.
Great. So, just so the audience, so I really want the audience to get to know you today so that when
Okay.
they come to the convention, they can be like, okay, Christy Faith, I know who this is. I definitely
Okay.
want to be in all of her sessions or whatever. So, tell us
Yeah.
about you, like your family and all that stuff.
Yeah, okay. So I am from California. We've been in Denver, though, for nearly a decade, around 9 years, 9.5 years. And while we were in California, while I was in graduate school, we started a boutique, like tutoring business that turned into a boutique learning center and educational consulting firm. And what we did is we helped the kids of the rich and famous. And there's no other way to say it. That's what we did. We did everything from remediations to test preparations to tutoring, a lot of interventions. I spent my days on reading evaluations, diagnoses. We would send kids to, pediatric neuropsychologists for diagnostic testing. Because often they would start off at our center with the parent needing that the child just needed tutoring help, and we quickly saw they needed a little bit more. And so we really partnered with families to give their kids the best chances possible, the best education possible. In the Los Angeles area, most of our students were in kind of the hoity-toity private schools. And so what you can get there is maybe a kid who's not the right fit to be in that school, but they are staying in that school anyway, and then need a lot of support outside of the school. But I mention all of that because at that time, for those 17 years that we ran that center, the families were great, the kids were great. But I just started to look around, and I don't know if you want to call it a red pill moment. I don't know. But I was like, where's the childhood? Where is it exactly? This kid, has been running since 7 a.m. Went to soccer practice, then straight to us for tutoring or remediation, and they're not going to get home till 9. The mom's dropping dinner off at our center. And that wasn't one kid. That was the majority of our kids and the majority of that culture there in Los Angeles and probably nationwide, depending on, where you live and that type of thing. But I just started to think these are kids. These are kids. Where's the childhood? And they're so obsessed with preparing them for adulthood. It's like they're rushing their kids through the garden to get to the other side. And when I have an infertility history, so I am an older mother. I didn't have our firstborn child until my mid 30s. And so I got to experience that. But then when I had my own child and we were thinking of, all right, where are we going to send him to school? By the way, he's going to come. Lincoln, he's now my high school. Yeah, he's now in high school and he helps run the booth. And so you'll get to meet him and shake his hand. But when he was a little baby, we were looking at our options and we could send our kids anywhere to the best private schools in the nation. And I'm thinking, but I don't want that. I don't want it. I want him to love his childhood yes, I want a fantastic education for him, but also not if that's what this looks like. And so what happened is I started getting my hands on some of the homeschool intellectuals at the time that were very popular, most of whom are in the classical space. And my eyes were opened. I was like, what? I didn't even know what a classical education was, what the different pedagogies were. And here I am, my entire career was in education, but only one type. And so I really had like a 6 month period where everything was kind of unraveling. Well, believe it or not, that led us to selling our company and moving out of state so that I could be a stay-at-home mom homeschooling my kids. It's very expensive to live in Los Angeles. Most moms work in the area that we were living in because it's just so expensive. And so yeah. So when I first started homeschooling, I was one of those true blue classical homeschooling mamas, and I love classical education. I still think that's my heart. I'm much more eclectic now. Classical is a posture more than a particular curriculum, and so we approach our homeschooling in all different ways now. And if I now have my footing solid enough that I can kind of make anything classical. And that's my wish for all those new homeschool moms out there listening. I think it's pretty natural and good to lean towards something that you can trust in those early years. But ultimately, what I want for you guys as you grow in your homeschooling years and you grow in your confidence, that you and only you know how to make the best decisions for your kids. So a lot of my sessions when I come to CHAP, they're going to be practical and we can talk about some of them, but I do a lot of deschooling. Like, okay, what is important? What does the last 70 years of research say about child development and psychology? And look how cool, because actually scripture has been saying it far longer than that. Yeah, forever. But isn't it nice that we now have, research to support this and then to help guide us in our decisions? Because I think that especially nowadays, with the culture of social media and so many options out there, it's like you can get shiny object syndrome, but to a detriment where you're constantly pivoting and making changes. And that's not good for you and your own self-confidence or your kid. And so I really want women to know their why. It helps them make decisions, know their kid, trust themselves more in the areas that they know they can, and then also seek excellence from solid experts that know more than them in a particular area, which is why we go to conventions so that they can get help in the areas that they need.
Yeah, so that it's awesome to see how God used your passions and then drew you into that homeschooling realm with those passions, and then you're continuing to use those passions in the homeschooling realm. So like previously you're tutoring and education and want to help people, and then it shifts over to where you are now, and that's beautiful to see, your special journey that he has you on. And how now we're being blessed by your experiences. And I just love, I was listening to someone, I was like, wow, she like really researches stuff. I'm not a researcher, my husband is, but I love listening to what other people research and find out.
If you ever need receipts, I am your girl, because I often, in the early days, because I started off as a TikToker and I was saying some things that were making people mad. And so I had to make sure that whatever I was saying, I could back up. And so I kind of just got into that habit of, Christy, before you say it, make sure you can back it up. And so that's kind of been, that has flown into the podcast. But you mentioned about your skill set. So one of my primary jobs, I always worked with kids at our center, interventions, tutoring, reading, helping kids who are behind in reading. But my primary role was teaching our tutors. We had a very large staff of teachers. And so those, I think that that's what's transferred the most in terms of coming to the homeschooling space is I'm still training teachers. That's still what I love. That's what gets me up in the morning and lights me up. I'm just teaching the best teachers of all who know their students more than anybody else. I'm teaching the mamas. So,
Yeah, so God just knew, right? He
yeah.
just knew. I just love that. I love seeing pieces like that just go together. I just think that's so beautiful. So, if you don't know, everyone, Christy, everyone out there, our convention theme this year is Rejoice in Hope. So that comes from Romans 12:12,
Yeah.
which can be read, be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and persistent or faithful in prayer. So I don't know if you know, but CHAP is 40 this year. So those 40
Oh,
years had a lot of those things in them, lots of prayer and lots of rejoicing and lots of being patient in affliction. But mamas out there, y'all know that you go through all of these things, right? So this theme is, I think, super special this year. And I think that your talks that you're going to be doing fit so beautifully into what is going on here. So I'm just going to read the topics so everybody hears what you're going to be
okay.
doing. Your keynote, which I believe is Friday morning, is going to be the vanishing of childhood. What happens when we lose the wonder years? Homeschooling 101, how to start and avoid common mistakes. Math is a nightmare. Save me. Proven techniques to turn math around today. Resilient roots, raising faithful kids in an increasingly troubling world. So I see hope in that last one, patient and affliction, and the math, and the getting started is, oh, it can be so terrifying. And I don't know, just prayer has to wrap all of it, right? I mean, when we're
Yeah.
planning and getting into it, and the issues that come up or whatever, even the good things, everything needs to be wrapped in prayer. Um, and I just think this is, I don't know. I love what you're going to be bringing. I think it's just going to like be sponged in by like so many people, especially the math one. That always is always such a nightmare for people. Not always, but most people are a little bit nervous about math and what goes on in the math realm. So, is there anything here on this list that you in particular are really excited about sharing?
Oh man. Well, I I love my keynote because I think that our society today does not realize that giving our kids a healthy childhood is the best preparatory
Mm,
practice for a beautiful adulthood, a resilient adult. And especially from my background where there were a lot of those tiger moms, aggressive, grade obsessed, get into
yeah.
Harvard kids, our clients would hire college counselors and pay $40,000 to get their kid into the Ivy League because they had connections and things like that. And so, but these kids weren't happy. They weren't happy. And I'm going to tell a story, and I'll probably tell this. Maybe I will. I don't know if it's in one of these talks, but I have a story of my mom had some pulmonary issues with dealing with living in a moldy house, like with that black mold. And she then had COVID. Anyway, for several years, she was on oxygen, like 24 hours a day. She had to walk around with one of those oxygen tanks. She's now off of oxygen, praise God. But I remember helping her one time with one of her doctor's appointments with her pulmonologist, and he was mean. He was mean. Um, and it's taking everything in me not to name call, but I tell my kids, don't name call. So I'm not going to name call. But, and here he is, the best pulmonologist in Denver, and really mean to his patients. And I'm thinking, this is why I homeschool. This is why I homeschool because this is not the human being that we want. This is not the product that we desire in an adult, right? You could know all the things in the world and be a terrible human being. And so I think that the work we do as homeschool families, it's soul work. And when we can get our anchor there, right? One of my talks is going to be resilient roots. When we get our anchor there, boy, does it change what our day to day looks like, because we care less about busy work and we care more about the formation of a human being. We care more about the inner relationships in our home. We care more about our marriages. We care more about social emotional learning. I consider that just as important as math, English language arts. And so I'm really excited about. I feel like I love the verse Romans 12:12, because I feel like when Paul wrote that, he didn't know that he'd be helping us at our kitchen tables with long division. But isn't it so true? And the other thing I want to acknowledge is that this homeschooling path that we've all chosen, and I'm laughing because I should probably share about my morning, Ginger, because this is me right now, mamas, is this isn't the easy path. We did not choose a simpler life in homeschooling our children. We have to fight to get through our days sometimes. Maybe you're homeschooling a child who has special needs and you're worried. You're really sincerely worried. Maybe you have a kid that has some behavior issues and you don't know what to do and you're not finding answers right now and you're not getting the help that you need. Or maybe the things that you've been doing aren't working anymore. And so, anyway, so that's what I'm really excited about in terms of when I go to conferences is I really like to start at the high level. And all right, this is like we call it cognitive reframing. That's kind of the fancy word for it, but like a mindset shift. And then how does that free us in certain areas, but also give us a really good laser-like focus in others that we need to have. And so, I'm not the homeschool speaker that's going to tell you, don't worry, don't worry, your kids, you're right. Like if you come to me and you tell me that your 11-year-old is not reading at all, that's concerning, right? And so from my educational background, I also come from that piece of part of us doing our job excellently and part of us preparing our kids for a life where no doors are closed on them. It does require us to take responsibility for their academic growth. And yes, I've worked with kids with all sorts of learning profiles my entire career. I even have kids in my own home with all different learning profiles, and how you teach each kid is different, but still we want to bring excellence. We want to bring excellence to the table when we're homeschooling. And so
Yeah.
hopefully I can help mamas do that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I love, there's so many things that you said in there. One of the things I think is so important, and I've encouraged many people in this over the years, is the academics are important. Yes, you need to be responsible and teach them
Mhm.
to read and to communicate
Mhm.
and to be functional adults, right? Part of being a functional adult is life skills also. So I've encouraged people, don't
Yes.
forget those life skills. They got to know how to do laundry. I don't know how many people I've heard their kids went to college and no one around them knew how to do laundry. Like
Right.
that just blows me away. Like,
Mhm.
clean bathrooms, do some cooking. Like all of this is learning. Like life is learning. There's all types of things that we need to learn, and also the character growth and raising mature adults. Like we're not raising children, we're raising adults, right? So, but walking
Yeah.
with them in that
Yeah.
journey and being very intentional to pay attention to who they are, who God made them to be, what are the
Mhm.
passions that God put in them, and just drawing that out, right? It's an amazing thing. And when you actually slow down enough to do it, it's a joy. I mean, it is
Yes.
there's the joy, right? It's a joy that because you see it and you're able to help them do it. But if we're worried and busy and stressed and the day is too full, then you just like those poor kids, like you early on down there in California, like they didn't know their kids. They were just shuttling
Yeah.
them around everywhere, and the kids were miserable.
Right. And worried sick that they're not going to get into the right college. And then all of a sudden you blink and their childhood's gone. Like,
Yeah.
and I just didn't want that for my family. I still wanted my children academically prepared, but because I had been in the classroom and out, I knew this, educating a child does not take 7 hours a day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I knew that only in homeschooling could I, dare I say, have my cake and eat it too. I could give my kids this beautiful, nurturing childhood and
Mhm.
also give them the academics that they need.
Yeah.
And really, and I love what you said about the life skills, because I think that a shift that I see happening in the homeschool space that I think is so fantastic is this shift from an education being content to an education being more skill based. And
Mm.
in the future that we're seeing, because we're thinking a lot right now about AI. I have a podcast episode coming out in a couple of weeks, a two-parter on how do we prepare our kids for this world. We don't even know what jobs they're going to have. And AI is like, you can basically eliminate writing at this point. And so what do we do? Because a lot of moms are scared. They're not only scared for their kids' futures, but families right now are scared for their own jobs. Or am I going to
Mm.
lose my job?
Mm.
And so I think that when we prepare our kids with the skills that they need, they'll be able to learn and do anything that they need to. And so that's really exciting. And mamas, if you're slogging through your days right now, homeschooling, please, please, please come to a couple of my sessions. If math is hard, I really, after that session, I give you a path. And that's one thing that I always want mamas and dads when they come to my sessions to walk away with something that they can do right now that will
Mhm.
change, significantly change whatever problem they had that made them come to my workshop. And if I
Mhm.
can do that, then that makes me happy.
Yeah.
If there's anything that I can share, through God's work in me and the giftings that He's given me, it's all Him. I mean, I don't know if you know the story, Ginger, but I didn't even ask to be Christy Faith. God put it, He decided for me one day. And so, but this whole journey, the last 5 years, has just been, all right, Lord, I guess I'll do that. Okay, Lord, you want me to write a book? Okay, we'll do that. And so, but I'm thrilled. I love what you guys picked. The childhood keynote is going to be so fun. The resilient roots one, I think that we in our culture, and I want to be careful saying this because I love all my brothers and sisters in Christ, but I do think there has been an aspect of parenting, not just in the homeschooling space, but across the board in the evangelical space that is slightly undermining to what we actually want with our kids and our future kids when they're adults, and that is punitive approach to behavior modification with our parenting. And so, and I really think that if we want Christ to look attractive to our kids and we want them to have a lasting faith into their adulthood, that starts with how we treat our kids. And are we
Mm.
treating our kids in a Christ-like manner, how He handled sinners? And
Mhm.
so part of that is I talk about scripture and how Jesus interacted with those people that were misbehaving, around him, and how what his posture was, and how we can really transform our families if we view behavior more like we're detectives rather than policemen or cops, and really getting to why is my kid behaving this way, because I think that that's what's going to build the resilient roots of a lasting faith, is if they don't view Christianity as punitive, right, or legalistic in any way. And so that one's a fun one. And don't worry, I'm not edgy. I'm not a gentle parenting advocate. Don't worry. But don't you think that that's not a bad thing to kind of be rethinking uh, some of that?
Absolutely, I agree with you. I mean, one of my
Yeah.
next questions for you was what do you feel parents really need to hear? And I think there you go. I mean, they need to be hearing these things, and then our kids need to see us growing in our faith. And when
Yes.
we mess up, we got to own up to it,
Yeah.
and we got to live it all out before them, because in order for them to love Jesus and love what he wants with them in a relationship, they need to be able to see him doing that with us doing that with him, right, with Jesus. So I don't know, I was going to ask you that question, but you just went right into that. So I just feel like I feel like parents everywhere need to be aware of that. And like when you have your children home, Deuteronomy 6
Yeah. Yeah.
we're with you all the time. Like, this is your opportunity to just be the example. And it's not only for their good, it's for your good too. I mean, this whole
Yes.
journey is for you as much as it is for your children. So, yeah, I
Yes.
love, yeah.
Yeah. And I want the mamas to know that all of us, a lot of people look at whoever has the microphone in front of them and thinks they have their life together. But I just feel compelled to share this. And I think maybe this is the Lord, because maybe a mom needs to hear this is like, I got the time wrong. And poor Ginger was on the podcast 2 hours earlier, and I got the time wrong. And I'm dealing with sick kids, getting ready to travel, and all this stuff. And I just really messed up today. And I just got on the Zoom call, and Ginger's like, it's okay. I get it. So if you're a mom who's feeling like everyone else has it together and I'm the only one that doesn't, can you just remember that? Remember Christy Faith's day today, because we're all trying our best. We're all just trying to be faithful. We all just want to love our kids and love the Lord and raise them in Him. And so I just want to share one, none of us have it together, but we all are trying our best and we just want to be faithful servants. So I hope that I really want you to hear that today. And I also want you to know that you don't have to homeschool alone. Listening to
Mm.
podcasts is great. I hope you find out about my podcast and start listening. But there is nothing that compares to that in person camaraderie, companionship, the energy flowing, the bustling of being at a convention. And I can tell you, I do a lot of homeschool conventions and conferences. The hearts of these organizations that put these on for you, they are saturated and soaked in prayer. All we want to do is nurture you and pour into you. And so please, I just want to ask, will you receive that? Will you receive that from us? Will you come to the conference? It's I'm sure it's super affordable. I don't even know what the ticket price is, but it's absolutely affordable, I'm sure. And would you let us do the work in you that God called us to do for you? He literally put us on earth. He gave, yes, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a homeschool mom, but my professional calling is you, mama. It's you, to pour into you. And so if you have to find the childcare, if you have to do whatever, just I'm going to pray that you can figure out ways and circumstances, or if you have to work on stuff financially to be able to come. And then when you do come, I'm warning you that I am a hugger. And there might be, if you come to my booth and you're crying, I'm going to be hugging. We're going to hug. So, but I can't wait to come. And what else is exciting happening at the conference, Ginger?
So there are so many really fun things. On Thursday, it's like our get ready day. So we have new to homeschooling sessions and high school sessions that day. We have sessions in Spanish for the Spanish community who are just getting started and need assistance. And then we also are going to be talking about bilingual homeschooling,
Oh,
which is really fun. Yeah. And then
ooh.
we also have a special needs conference that day. Um, and there's going to be ASVAB testing available to the teens of our families. So that'll be something you sign up for ahead of time. So make sure you register early so you can register your teen for the ASVAB. That's going to be a wonderful thing too. So if you missed that episode, that was a few episodes ago. I talked with Natalie Mack about that. So you're going to want to
Oh,
check them
I
out.
love Natalie.
Isn't
Isn't
she
she?
wonderful?
Yes, I just
I
love her.
love
So she's going to be there?
Yes, she is. She
All
is.
right. Awesome.
So, yeah, so it's going to be really great. So that's just Thursday. And then Friday, well, we have a used curriculum sale too. So you can sell your curriculum or go get a few really nice cheap buys for your homeschool. And then Friday and Saturday is our main convention. So we have Christy, and you heard me talk with Abraham Hamilton the third. He's going to be there. And then Roger and Jan. You'll meet them next time on my podcast. So all these wonderful speakers who, like you said, we are all here to pour into you. Like our heart, like I can vouch for what Christy was saying. CHAP's heart,
Mhm.
our organization, everyone who is volunteering in CHAP, our heart is to help you because we
Mhm.
see what Christ has done in us and in our children and in our families and in our communities. And we long for that with everything that we are to give that to you because I know there's hard days. I've had them. I know it's scary to get started. I've been there. But I'm also 19 years in, and it's been amazing. Graduated 3 kids, and the fruit is just, I mean, it would make you weep, right? I'm not going to go there right now, but it is wonderful to see. the fruit of what God has done and how he just continues to be so faithful to us. So, yes, so there's that. And then there's a vendor hall, and you get to go in there and look at it, the curriculum, and touch it and read it and talk to the people about it. And it's just wonderful. The chat booth is there, and we are there to mentor you. We are there to pray with you, whatever support you need. The whole weekend is about encouraging you and
Mhm.
connecting you and equipping you and helping you to stay on this beautiful journey that God has put you on, because there is nothing better. There is nothing better for your family than to walk this journey together. And sometimes it looks really different. It just looks really different, and it's okay. It's okay because God knows. God knows, he knows what's going on in your life. So yes, that's what's going on at the convention, and it's going to be super fun. Um, and like you said, there's just something about being together in person that you can get the information. Like I can listen to your
Yeah.
podcast, I can go, what you can get the information. It's not about that. Um, I don't know if he helps us remember it better or if it's just that blessed be the tie that binds. Like when we're
Mhm.
together, there
Mhm.
is just something that God does with the Holy Spirit that you cannot get that when you're just listening to podcasts. It's that physical presence.
Mhm.
And it's hard to convey that to people. It's hard to get people to understand that without them being there.
Yes. Well, and also just seeing, several hundred people all in this with you. You don't see them on
Mhm.
a podcast.
Mhm.
And, like
Mhm.
I can tell you when I have a video that, pops to over 1 million views, that it's like, oh, okay. And then when I'm keynoting somewhere and the room is full of 5,000 people, like it just is different. These are real people. You can see their
Yeah.
faces, you can look into their eyes.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing that replaces it. In-person connection. I think God created us for it. We're
Yes.
we're having issues nowadays with young people in their 20s and they're not connecting in real life, IRL, right? In real life. They're not
Mhm.
connecting that way and they're struggling immensely. And
Mhm.
what is the antidote to that? Going to church, being in community, going to small groups, participating, serving. And
Mhm.
so that's why I love coming to in-person conferences and speaking and meeting all the women. I love meeting the homeschool leaders nationally as well. I'm on the board of homeschool, the Nevada Homeschool Association, and so
Oh,
and
great.
we're in the alliance as well. But I just love supporting homeschooling nationally, and it means very much to me. So, ladies listening, I can't wait. And if you were on the fence, okay, so if you were on the fence and then you're like, I heard you on the podcast. And then I came. Would you tell me? Would you tell me? I just want to know.
Ooh.
And so yeah, but it's gonna be a great time.
Yes, it will. It will. I'm so excited. And I just love it. I love your heart for everyone. And I love that, yeah, I just think everyone will be so blessed. Guys, you just gotta come. You just gotta come to the convention and be blessed. So, Chrissy, if folks want to get to a little bit more about you before they come to the convention, because they're gonna come to the convention. But if they want to listen to you, listen to some more of what you've shared already, where can they find you?
If you go to christyfaith.com, you will find everything. Every button leads somewhere else. And why don't we get to know each other a little bit and you listen to a couple podcast episodes before you come? That's a great way to know my heart. Most of my podcast episodes are solo. I only have a guest on about once a month because I have just so much to share. I have a lot. I'm chatty, okay? Can you tell? But yeah, that's a great way to kind of get to know my heart, see how I can help you perhaps. And yeah, just christyfaith.com and become a podcast listener would be the best gift of all.
Right. Yeah. So if they're regular listeners to me, they will be comfortable with that because I talk a lot by myself.
Oh, good. Okay.
Well, on my show, I mean, convention season, I have people on because I want them to get to know you guys before the convention happens. But for
Yeah.
the most part, I just get on and start, sharing whatever it is that God has put on to my heart recently.
Oh,
So yeah, they'll be used to that. That'll be familiar territory for them.
are are you doing any sessions at the convention?
Yeah. I am speaking on Thursday, so I do a lot of getting new like myth busting, high school requirements for Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania can be,
Okay.
it's not tricky. It's just till you get to know what you're doing. So I help people with that. And then, yeah, I will be sharing from my own experience what God, I don't know if you can see Beloved Release here behind me. That is what God has given me to remind me how loved I am and how I can release all
Mm.
things into His hands. So I'm going to be sharing that too. So my part of my personal faith journey, which has been really huge. So that's going to be on Thursday. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope I'm not speaking at the same time because I want to come to that. I want to
Oh,
hear about
cool.
your faith journey. Maybe I should have you on the podcast, my
Ooh, that would
podcast
be fun.
sometime.
That
I
would be
would love
fun.
that. Well, and you also mentioned, you're a myth buster. That's so fun. Those videos always do well when I do those on social media. But one, I see that one of the ones I'm signed up for is how to navigate. I do a talk on how to navigate homeschool criticism, disapproval, and judgment, and how to do that in a loving and winsome way, but yet setting some healthy boundaries so that you
Yeah.
don't feel bad about yourself after those interactions at Thanksgiving when, you know,
Mhm.
Uncle John is looking over your shoulder, judging your kid's spelling, and then making you feel bad about yourself just when kind of got your footing in homeschooling, and how hard that can be when the people around you don't understand what you're doing and don't support what you're doing. And so if you have that in your life, please come to that session. I'm not going to be giving you a mean clapback. That's not what that's about. I'm going to help you navigate that in a way that is not sinful, that is loving, but
Yeah.
ultimately so that you walk away from those interactions and those judgments and those comments that people say, feeling good about yourself and feeling like maybe you opened up a conversation for the future for that person.
Mhm.
So please come to that if you're struggling in your life with those people around you. A lot of first time. I'm curious, Ginger, were you the first person in your family to homeschool?
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
did you face a lot of that? People like, what are you doing exactly?
Not really. Not really. I mean, they were kind of like, well, I don't know. But then they all came along. But there was no like vitriol. Like there was no like, you know.
Yeah.
But I did well in school. So my mom actually knew some homeschoolers. She just didn't homeschool, although I think I would have flourished in homeschooling. But
Yeah.
so I don't, so they were of the mindset, well, she did well in school, so she'll do fine teaching her kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my husband and I mean, we've been weird since the day we met. And we just, I used to tell him before we got married, you're weird. And he goes, you're gonna be Mrs. Weird. We just
Ah,
been
that
weird.
is so cute.
So and it's true. I mean, that is the journey that God has taken us on. We've always made these decisions and they're totally like ahead of or different than everybody else. And we've just learned to be who God has chosen for us to be because that's where we are. So, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. So, well, Christy, this has been wonderful. I'm so excited we could work this out.
Yeah.
I really, I really hope and pray that your children get better and your trip goes
Thank you.
wonderful down to see Roger and Jan. So,
Yes. Yeah. We're just, as each kid goes down and they're going down hard, Scott and I are like, oh boy, like we hope we don't get it. It's a gnarly
oh,
one.
yeah,
So yeah, this week has been a struggle. You remember those days, just one kid after the other.
yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
it started with our high schooler because I'm used to, when your kids are younger, they get sick. When they start getting older, they don't get sick as much. So this has been quite a doozy. And but you know what? That it's everyone's going to be fine, and it's a stressful day, but we all
Yeah,
have those days, and we're all just, Lord, what do you have for me? What do you have for
yeah,
me in this? What do I
yeah,
have to learn?
yeah. He
So
knew. He
thank
knew. It was not a surprise to him. So, yes, thank you for coming on. It was so good to
yes.
chat with you. Everyone, I just want to remind you real quick, remember to register. Go to conv.chaponline.com. After you register, you're going to get your confirmation email, and that is where you can sign up to be a used curriculum seller. You can do teen track, you can do volunteering, all the things. So get out there, register. If you, for some reason, you cannot make it, which would be so sad, but if you cannot make it, we do have recordings. So you will be able to hear Christy Faith, and that will be in our e-news. So go to chaponline.com, sign up for our e-news, make sure you're aware of what is going on with us at all times through our e-news. So be courageous in your role as parents, because you know you got this. God has you too, as you train your children to follow Christ in all of life. And I will see you next time. Take care now. Bye.